Jaffe founded Return on Investment Media in 2003 and currently employs more than 50 people in Cape Town and Joburg. They develop and execute digital strategies and are results driven. Ellen is also the co-founder of White Hatters, an SEO initiative with the aim of bringing like-minded ethical people together to cultivate the industry. Ellen, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
What is important, or how is the importance of Google to your business?
Well, I think these days we can't live without Google. Everyone says, I'm going to Google it, and Google is the world's largest search engine. So therefore we always talk about Google and we don't really talk about the other search engines. But every time you go in and you type something, that is called a search query. And every single month there are 20 billion searches around the world. So in terms of should your business be online, well, there are billions of people searching with search queries, and you will get found and you will get business. So the answer is that's a good reason to get online.
What is a search engine optimization?
So currently there's 1 billion websites on the internet. So in terms of you getting ranked in the free search results, search engine optimization is the process of getting you ranked in that spot above millions of other sites, and to make you the most relevant and worthwhile so you get the traffic.
And what are the advantages of updating your websites regularly, and what is updating regularly?
So Google loves a website that has fresh content, and the more often you update the content, the more often it comes back. And when that happens, you get more reward. So the goal is to actually get content on your website that's updated in a regular manner.
So let me ask you about a thing called a web crawler. It's a very, very scary concept. What is this thing that crawls around the web?
The actual term is it's called a spider. So the spider is a bot, which it literally is Google's device that it sends to index the entire internet and all these web pages.
So it's a piece of code, actually.
Well, it's almost a piece of software or a script that's actually visiting your website. And what happens is it knocks on the door, and it says, hey, I've got something new, so it's going to come back tomorrow. But if you haven't updated your site in a year, it's going to only update you very infrequently.
And that's part of the ranking, is that bot comes in, that spider comes in, looks for something new, and it's part of the algorithm. Newness is part of the algorithm to ensure that you move up the rankings. Am I understanding this correctly?
You're getting there. I would say phase one is the spider visits your website and it indexes you. So phase one with search engine optimization is when Google comes knocking, make sure it can get in. Make sure it can get you into the index for phase one of sort of ranking your website. So
what does that mean practically? Does that mean that I don't have, I don't present my website in certain formats? What does it practically mean?
So some websites are built in something called frames. Google can't, it struggles with them. Believe it or not, Google doesn't love Flash websites. So when it visits a Flash website, it can now index it, but it can't really read what's inside. It doesn't do a good job of it. So the whole goal is to get good content and get indexed efficiently.
And meta tags, what are those?
Meta tags is a tag that literally tells the search engine what you're about. And in the old days, we used to abuse it, and we used to put 20 or 30 keywords in it. These days, it's been abused, and Google actually ignores it. So a lot of people still think meta tags are the be-all and end-all, but very few people know that they're actually ignored.
So how does Google then work out how to index you?
So there are 200 known elements in Google's algorithm. They're known. In terms of which one has more weighting over the other, that's a debate.
Unknown.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
But in terms of what's important, content is critical. And what a lot of people don't know is that the content needs to be original. And everyone might say, well, the content is original, but Google can actually check if your content is copied from another website. Now, sometimes it's actually very easy. You're selling a product, you go to the supplier's website, you cut and paste the content, and you think, great. But Google has a digital fingerprint, meaning it can take that entire content and tell you whether or not it's original. If it's not original, it actually deprioritizes your page all the way down the search
But
result.
what happens if somebody copies me? And do I get penalized for that?
So if you were the first site to rank,
Yes.
then you would be number one. If
yeah.
someone copied you later, they
Yeah.
would be the one,
Okay, get
in
it.
theory, that gets the penalty.
Okay, I got it.
So is that what takes you to the top of the Google page then?
Well, to get you, that's the secret sauce. To get you to the top, there are two main components. One is called on-site optimization, which is everything to do with your website. And the second is off-site optimization, which is everything externally. So number one with the website, the first thing you're going to do is make sure your website is Google compliant. Make sure you aren't breaking any rules. Make sure the spiders can index you and you are completely playing above board. Then number two is the original content and making sure each page is themed so that you are rewarded for a topic. But the bulk of search engine optimization is off-site optimization, and these are other websites linking to your website. And what they're actually doing is casting a vote. And those votes are the largest election on the earth, but they are the most abused. So all votes were never, they're not equal, and they're good ones and bad ones, and if you abuse them, you can get into hot water and you can get banned very quickly.
Now, is there a truth in that if you hit your own website 1,000 times, it will push you up the search page?
It's not true.
Okay.
A lot of people think that. And another sort of myth is that if you do Google AdWords, you'll get rewarded, which is also not true. You'll get rewarded with traffic, but not with your SEO.
And linking up with other web pages, what's the advantage of that?
So the whole goal is to actually get the other websites to link towards your website. And by that happening, you're actually getting a vote of credibility.
Okay.
And most people are going to say, well, how can I do it? Why would someone want to link?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's back to basic business principles. If you have a good product, if you are in the news, in the press, and you want to promote a product and people are featuring your product or they want to write a write-up on your product or service, you're naturally going to get links. You also can work with all your suppliers and let them put you on a partner page or give testimonials. There's a lot of different methods. There's probably 100 different strategies to get links.
And then to get philosophical right now, one of the things around the internet which I've heard is that the end game for Google is that the websites with real valuable content will be the ones that will be ranked the highest. That Google will see through over time all the different tricks that people use in order to move them up the ranking. And what will ultimately be of value is valuable content. What's your thoughts on that?
So Google has guidelines, and in the past it was all about just get as many links as possible and you will rank. Their latest sort of statement in terms of how you should rank is build a good website with good content, with good user experience, and everything else will follow. And that's very cryptic, but it's actually very accurate. The new wave of sort of web optimization is creating an amazing site that works on regular computers, on mobile devices, that's responsive, and that provides a good user experience. Obviously, the good content, create good content and people will naturally link to you. I think it's a little bit harder than that, and obviously specialists create content that is shareable, that people actually want to link to. So the correct answer is yes, it's moving towards that. If you've got a terrible website, you're not worried about the appearance or how people are interacting, Google is not going to worry about you.
Now, there's a rumor or a myth, you need to clear this up, about the guy behind Google who's checking out whether you're copying, etc., is some ex-military guy. Is that true?
No comment.
No comment?
No. The head of Google search spam, and there's an actual team that combats people trying to manipulate Google. So believe it or not, there are hundreds of thousands of sites trying to manipulate them every day. And he is actually ex-CIA, so he understands secrecy, and their formula is completely secret. And his job is literally to look into people who are trying to game Google, and obviously look, if you suspect somebody is manipulating Google or doing something illegal, you can contact Google and Google will take action.
And is that the likes of in what was the olden days, your meta tags being hidden in an underlayer, those kind of things?
You actually know quite a lot about this.
So well, maybe I'm ex-CIA, no comment.
Exactly. So there's definitely some no-nos of people, like for example, people will put white text on a white background,
yes.
and Google can detect that very quickly, and people they'll do something called cloaking, that they'll show Google one version of the web page and show a user another version. These are all like very old school dirty tricks that Google can automatically detect right now. So if you do things like that, yes, it will detect, and but I mean, in terms of the modern day manipulation, it's far more advanced than that. It's actually stealing other people's content, as you originally said, and trying to outrank them.
So what actually happens if this dude catches you?
Well, if the dude catches you, the first thing that happens is you might come into work one day and there'll be an email from Google saying, you know, strike one, we can see you doing dodgy things, please refrain from doing these things, if you're lucky. Phase two could also be, we've detected unnatural links pointing to your website. If that happens, start to run. But normally what happens is you actually come into work and your traffic's gone. All of a sudden, Google will actually now roll out an update. They're cute animals like penguins and pandas, and they literally roll out an update, and one day later, if you did something, they've literally factored it in to actually eradicate it from their algorithm.
Wow.
Sheesh.
And that's the world we live in right now. So some of the updates that happened this year were the most drastic in almost 10 years.
Now, Ellen, there are so many companies out there offering SEO campaigns of which business people haven't benefited from. What advice would you give in choosing the right company to do this for you?
Well, I would make sure they choose the right company. And obviously to do that, there's certain things I would put forward to the company you're going to select. The first thing I would ask is, how many years have you been in business? Number two, how many staff have you got that are actually dedicated? Because a lot of people will say they do SEO, but they don't really do SEO. A lot of people also might outsource their staff. And I think if the staff are sitting in another country like India, I think it's fair that they disclose that to you. But I think the most important thing is results. So ask them for 10 clients, 10 case studies. Ask for 30 rankings right now that are number one that you have for your clients. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to facts, not we can do this and we will do this. And I think that's that's going to be critical. And the number one thing that is so tangible in SEO is your monthly report. In that report, go through the data, see what work was done, because I think that's where it can become a gray area, where a business owner may be unsure what these guys actually did for the money. So there's nothing wrong saying, what did you do? How did I actually, what did I pay for and how did I get these results? And if they don't want to show you because they say it's a trade secret, start to get worried. Also, another thing is, if they guarantee you number one position, nobody can guarantee you number one position, because that's out of your control. You can do everything within probability to achieve it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to Google.
Very interesting chat, Ellen. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now for the MTN Business Quick Tip of the Week.
That one depends on the individual and where they are at with their own self-esteem and truthfulness with themselves. A person who is constantly working towards the self-actualization, which is the top of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, will be honest with themselves, because they're on a journey to find the things that don't serve them well and to leave them and replace them with things that take them further in life, leading to the state of bliss or joy or self-confidence, authentic self-knowledge. So it's really just being honest with yourself is a choice.
If if there are parts of the show you'd like to see again, log on to www.businessdaytv.co.za, click on shows, and then scroll down to the Big Small Business Show. On the site, you'll also find the entry form to apply for a Raise Corp bursary to the value of 250,000 rands. Alon, your views on today's show?
Kateko, there was a very important part of today's show, something that's very close to my heart. In the interview with Appy, I asked him a question around whether he envisaged himself as the CEO of a company with 220 people. And he gave one of the most authentic answers that I've heard, which was, no, I didn't. And in my research with successful entrepreneurs, they fall into two broad categories. Those that have the vision, okay, and by the way, those are few and far between, but if you read all the theory and you read all the books on entrepreneurship, they talk about, oh, you have to have this huge vision. And the guy who's reading it says, geez, I don't have this big vision. All I want to do is get through this month. The second broad category are those people who do things in a particular way. And you heard in Appy's interview, he spoke about the fact that he just wanted to do these things well, and then he felt the money would flow. He wanted to serve his clients, find the pain points, service his clients, and the money would flow. Now, I call that a philosophy. And I think the majority of entrepreneurs who become successful don't necessarily have this great vision. That comes a little later. But they have an ability to understand what are the 2, 3, 4 things that they do really well. And all their decision making is based around these 3 or 4 things. Their philosophy, the filter and using their philosophy. So as an example within Raise Corp, our philosophy is we don't do it unless it's unique, replicable and profitable. So everything we do is based around those 3 things. And every decision we make is around whether we can make it unique, we can make it replicable, or we can make it profitable. And the business naturally grows on that. So I just want to demystify this thing around vision. I don't think that all entrepreneurs have vision in the beginning. Sometimes it's something that comes a little later, and that's cool. A philosophy is just as good, if not better.
Wow, wise words from Alon. Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you. Send us an email to bigsmall@bdtv.co.za if you'd like to appear on the show, recommend a topic, or give us feedback. Until next week, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me too. And remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a healthy reality.
The Big Small Business Show was proudly brought to you by MTN Business. Your success is our passion. And the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants. Develop, influence, lead.